The last thing you want to happen when you create a make.com automation with multiple modules and different components is to lose it. You don't want to have to start from scratch, or even if you want to take the same stuff and adapt it slightly for a different client, you want to have 80%, 90% of the work done already. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can back up your make.com modules, how to create the right documentation, all you need to know in order to ensure that when you are using a make scenario after some time, you can immediately get started without wasting time, effort, and resources having to start from scratch. So here I am in this make.com automation, and it's a relatively simple automation in the sense that there is like 5 different modules, and the aim is to get a transcription from a YouTube video, which is right here, put it into ChatGPT to get the summary of the transcription, create a Google document, and then send it via email. So relatively a simple automation. What I want to show you is how, or different methods, how to ensure that you can immediately get started with this if you were to want to run it again in the future, or if you're sharing it with other people, or if you're selling it, or anything of the sorts. So first of all, let's speak about version control. So if you go here, you have this previous version button. It used to be part of this menu right here, but now with this new UI update that Make has made, it is now this like undo button. So when you click on it, you get this version, and you get to choose which version you want to revert back to. Here it says versions older than 60 days are removed automatically, so you will see all the saves you make here every 60 days, and this is a great thing to do. So each time you make a save, as in either hit Ctrl S or hit the save icon here, you get a new version added right here. So if I wanted to revert back to the first version of this, I can choose that first one, hit OK, and I go back to the empty automation, to the empty workflow. If I want to go back to what I just had now, I just choose that latest one and hit OK, which is great. So if you are afraid of making changes, if you are afraid of making mistakes, don't be. Just make changes or save before making any changes that might break your automation, and then revert if need be. So this is a quick way how to go back to a previous version. The problem is that you can't name the versions, you can't change the way they look. It's always the date or the date, the time created by, and your name. So that's a bit limited in terms of version control, but it is still a feature that is there, and it has saved my ass a few times when things didn't quite go as I had planned. So that's the first thing. The second thing would be to click on these 3 dots here and hit export blueprint, and that just allows you to save the blueprint to your computer. And this is the way the blueprint, so it's a JSON file that can be opened with any text editor, and you can see all the different things that are happening inside of make.com. And one thing I'll point out here is that the benefit of using a no-code tool like make.com is that you don't have to type this in and know what any of this stuff actually means. You are dragging and dropping stuff without having to create any code yourself. So it's always a plus in my book. Anyway, so this is the blueprint that make.com allows you to download to your computer. It's a normal file that you download, which then you can send to other people if you wanted to, which means that once people get this, so let's say that I delete all the stuff right here, right? Okay, not sure what's happening here. Delete, save this. Okay, let's delete that. Now I'm back to an empty automation. What I could do is just import a blueprint. I can choose the file, and now if I go to my downloads, I can download that or import that blueprint and hit save. That will automatically import this stuff there as well. So it's a great idea to save your make.com blueprints, the ones that are super valuable, and every so often export them and save them to Google Drive, to Dropbox, to some type of external backup storage where you can import them if need be. What I'll mention is that, as you saw here, if I go to import and choose file, by default make.com saves this as blueprint. So what you might want to do is grab the name of your workflow, and in your folder where you have just downloaded this, give it a name. So let's say that I just created this new folder in my downloads, and all I'm gonna do is drag that in there and then potentially give it the same name. So now I know that that is the folder that contains all these. And if you are using a folder structure in make.com, that could also be the way you do it. So you save the folder name in make.com as the folder name on your hard drive, and then you save each blueprint with the name you find right here. So there's that sort of structure, hierarchy, which makes it easier if you want to import stuff back into make.com. So this is the exporting blueprints and saving to Google Drive or Dropbox or whatever other storage you might use. Over here, if I go to, so let's create a set variable. Let's drag that here. It's also good to know that if you go to this menu right here, you can have scenario variables. For example, data consumed, execution ID. So these are all information or pieces of information you can use in your automations. For example, data left, operations left. So these can also help ensure that your make.com stuff stays organized. They're not going to help you save your scenarios, but it's also a good way to understand how much you're using of make.com, how much data you have left, how many operations you have left, which organizations or which teams are using the most data. So it's a good thing to know that it is available. So that's one thing I just wanted to mention. Let's delete this and revert back there. Now, the next, I think, great thing I discovered a few months ago was that you can also import the blueprint. So this is the blueprint itself that we exported earlier. So if I go to Claude and I drag and drop my blueprint here, there are a few things that I can do. So I can say, this is a make.com automation. Create documentation based on the file I attached. Hit enter. Of course, yeah, I was using Claude before, so I need to start a new chat with a different model, and let's try that again. I'm just going to drag that inside Claude. And here I have a summary of the automation flow described in the provided make.com scenario. This automation is designed to summarize the content of a YouTube video and email the summary to a specified recipient. The key steps are: set a variable URL with the URL of the YouTube video to summarize. Use the dark arts YouTube transcript module to generate a transcript. Pass the transcript content to the OpenAI GPT-3 module to generate a summary of the video. Create a new Google Doc. Email the summary to the specified email address. Awesome. So that's the overview. There are the detailed steps. And yeah, so what I would do is just copy that, and you can create a new docs.new. And what you can do is convert the markdown to HTML and just paste in that right there. So then you can say, this is the name of the automation, documentation. So that's a quick way to generate documentation for any make.com automation that you might have built. A different way to generate this would be as follows. So if I go and open up my Loom, so over here, what I did, once this loads, is that I went and before the start of this video, recorded a quick run through of what is happening right here, which looks something like that. So over here, I have this make.com scenario that says the variable of the URL I want to transcribe, and then use this Ninja Married to transcriber to transcribe the video, and so on and so forth. Just like we passed the blueprint to Claude, you can also pass a video summary. So if you're using something like Loom, it is super easy to do because you get the summary right here. It's just about copying that. And now I'm going to do something similar in Claude so I can compare the results. So I'm going to say, this is a make.com automation video transcript. Create documentation based on the following transcript. Now we're going to paste the transcript right there. In this case, again, I need to do the same thing. So start haiku chat. So this is now going to create an overview, a process breakdown, and usage. So things that are used, the automation. It's totally up to you which one you prefer. So whether it's this one from the transcript or this one from the blueprint, I think the blueprint is much more detailed because there is more information you could use. At the same time, you could also combine the two. So let's create a new Claude, what's it called? Haiku. And let's just copy this, paste it there. Let's just copy this and paste it there. Let's say context. This is a make.com automation. I've included the transcript of me running through the automation and what is actually in the blueprint. Okay, I don't know what I just did there. Okay. Combine the two pieces of information to create the best possible documentation for this make.com scenario. I'm also attaching the blueprint of the scenario. So here, this is the blueprint result. And then there is the transcript somewhere. So let's see, it says this decided to close down. Continue. That's where this starts. Make.com automation allows you to. Okay. Overview. Yep. So this is the transcript text. I'm going to paste or attach the blueprint again and hit enter. So now if I close this, and try this again, since I'm running into usage limits, start haiku chat, paste that in there as is, and just attach the blueprint. So now I'm expecting something that is much more detailed as documentation. So we copy this and go back to here, paste this in here, grab the updated documentation, move that for a sentence, and now we'll get this. So YouTube video summarizer automation. This make.com automation allows you to automatically summarize the contents of a YouTube video and share the summary via email and Google Docs. Key features, detailed workflow, setup and config, and a kind of summary, which is pretty cool. So these were two different ways how you can create documentation, either based on you running through this using a Loom video, then taking the transcript, or just exporting the blueprint and importing that into Claude or ChatGPT or whatever large language model you might be using. The benefit of using Loom is the following. So if I go to my video here and I play that, I can also grab screenshots, which can go very well with my documentation. So in this case, if I go full screen here and I'm speaking about inserting the YouTube video URL, it's easy to grab that, go back here, and paste that in there. Same thing, if I'm speaking about what the specific module does, and I click on it and I open it, I can then take a screenshot and describe what is happening there. If I'm in ChatGPT and I want to show the prompt, it's easy that while the video is playing, I just grab a screenshot of that, copy, go back to my document, and attach that in there. So it just takes a few more seconds, but whether you're creating this documentation for yourself or for others, whether you're selling a system or something like that, this would be a very helpful step. Same thing with email. I can just grab that, copy it, and then paste that in there. So now I end up with a quick 5-page documentation about this module, about this automation that I can refer to in the future, or I can pass along to clients, and that is an immediate value add. I'm just sharing with them how this works. I'm attaching screenshots, and all I had to do was create a Loom video, export the blueprint, and put everything in a large language model. I took a few seconds to grab these 3 screenshots and then add them to my documentation. So these are all ways how you can, number one, ensure you never lose your Make.com scenarios by saving blueprints to your desktop, for example, to your Dropbox, to your Google Drive. And number two, you never lose out on the work that you've done, on the way the automation works. So if you need to make changes, you know exactly where to look. By creating quick documentation, it is super valuable, and it also can be shared with others if need be. Anyway, hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And if you want to get started with using AI and automation in your business, check out the links in the description. I have a newsletter where I share my thoughts on the industry, and I also have a link where you can schedule a free consultation so I can speak with you and see how you're using AI and automation currently in your business and how to take that to the next level. I'll speak to you in the next video.